everybody. Welcome to this preparatory webinar for your long distance at the Ultra Trail Arikana. My name is Marlene Cote and I am the Executive Director of the event. I am very pleased to meet you all virtually today to be sure that you get all the information that you need for your course. How it's going to work today? Very simple. First of all, Jean Fortier, the race director of the long distances, will present himself briefly. And then our translator, Carmen Figueroa, I hope I tell it well, is gonna explain you all the information that you need to get well prepared for your course. So we're gonna go through the rules, the logistics, the services that will be offered during the event. So Carmen will explain you all of it. And Jean and I will be there at the end of the webinar to answer your different questions that you may have, still may have after the webinar. So after the Carmen's presentation, there will be a questions period. You'll see in your screen a place where you can ask and write your questions. Keep your questions for the end of the webinar. Maybe the answers will be given during it. So keep it for the end of the webinar, and at the end we will answer them the best as we can. Also, the last thing I would like to know before letting Jean present himself, I would like to remind that the webinar today is recorded and that the link of the webinar will be shared on our website as soon as tomorrow. And it will be also shared on our social medias. So if you want to share it to your family, friends, other runners that you know that are going to be there, don't hesitate. It's a good information that everybody should listen to before the race. So that's being said, I will let Jean present himself and Carmen lead the webinar. Thank you.
So hello guys, my name is Jean. You can call me Johnny if you'd like. If we see each other at the race. So I'm as Martin said, I'm the race director of the event, and I'm also in charge of the medical team. So I will let Carmen do the talking because she's a lot better than me in English. And I will interfere if there's some specification needed. But she will go through all the details of the event, medical stuff, and all the things that you should know before the race. And as also Marlene said, if there's any questions, we'll take them at the end of the webinar. So Carmen, it's all yours.
So thank you, Jean, and welcome everyone to this webinar. As has been mentioned, I am the translator, so I'm neither the race director, nor the medical director, nor the executive director of the race. So I will do my very best to present all the information, but I will likely need Jean and Marlene's help at the end to answer some questions. So there is a Q&A section, so please do not hesitate to ask questions as we go along. So. Just to start off then, for the bib pickup, this is going to be done at the church at La Malbaie. La Malbaie is a fairly small place, so you'll be able to see the church from far away, and all bibs will be available in the basement. So you can start the pickup at about 1 p.m. until 10 p.m. that evening. And just as a note for the 125K, in order to be able to pick up your bib, you will also need to go through a material checkup. So this is mandatory. You need to show us that you have everything that we have already posted on the list and the information that was sent to you. And just to make sure that you have everything that is required in order to be able to race. So you do need to be able to get through that race material checkup in order to be able to pick up your bib. And for everyone, it is required to have ID in order to be able to pick up your bib. And if you do have somebody else picking up your bib for you, you will need to have a proxy from that person allowing us to be able to do so along with the confirmation email. So, and all of your bibs will be color coded. There will also be non-mandatory meetings for all the information that you may need. So if you feel that you still need more information after tonight, we will do a recap of all of the information. And as I mentioned, these are non-mandatory. This is part of the reason why we're doing this webinar. But if you do wish to come, we have an information session at 5:30 p.m. for the athletes participating in the 125. This is on the Friday, of course. And for the 65 and 42K, it'll be at 7 p.m. And in between the two, at 6 p.m., we have a really great public discussion that is going to be presented, kind of like a panel discussion with guest speakers. And this is going to be presented by Distance Plus, which is the only French-speaking trail running magazine online in Quebec. So we invite you to come and participate at this event. On the Saturday, the starting times for the 125 is at 2 a.m. For the 65K, it's at 7 a.m. And for the 42K, it's at 9 a.m. And these are the starting times. So we do suggest very, very strongly that you show up at least a half hour before the actual departure time so that you have the time to, just make sure that you're there on time and to be able to prepare yourself mentally for the race. And all the information was sent to you in the athlete's guide about how to get to the starting time. For the 125, we do not require that you take the shuttle, but there is a shuttle, and we ask you to fill out a form so that we know how to organize ourselves and who is where. Also, just as a note, for the 125K start, it is accessible by car, although we really strongly encourage people to use the shuttle, and you cannot leave your car there all day. So if somebody drops you off, that's all right, although we do prefer that you use the shuttle. But if you are driving yourself, you will not be able to leave your car there for the entire day. So please do take that into account. And another note for the 42K, that you cannot go there on your own means. So you have to take the shuttle for the 42K. And when you leave for the race, we ask you to please place yourself according to your estimated time. So if you plan on taking, a little bit longer, then please place yourself towards the back. There will be signs with an estimated finishing time, and we ask you to respect this just to avoid any problems at the starting or near the starting line. We know that everybody's really excited at the beginning of a race, but it is important to respect this, especially because a lot of the course is single track, and so it's very difficult to be able to place yourself correctly after the start of the race. So we ask you to please respect this. And also on the Sunday, there will be a closing ceremony at 1 p.m. So this will be on the Sunday.
Carmen, can we go back just a little bit? Yeah. Just to specify that we're going to take notes of every runners who enter the starting box, and we need them to do so.
So when you leave the shuttle bus and you take your spot to be able to depart, we have to take down note of you. So preferably with the bib number. So once you are in the starting box, it means that a volunteer has taken down your bib number and knows that you are there. And this is to be able to make sure that we know who has started so that we don't lose anybody during the race. And just on that note as well, it's really important that your bib be visible at all times so that the volunteers can do their job of making sure that they know where everybody is. Once you're in the starting box, that means that somebody took down your number, and please do not leave the starting box. Again, don't try to go over the fences either. We really do need everybody to be respectful of this this procedure. So just be patient when you get off, wait for everybody to be able to get through. And once you're in the starting box, please do stay there until the departure time. Also, in the case of medical conditions, particularly anybody who suffers from any allergies or anything like that, we really strongly encourage you to be able to go on the Intra website in order to open up an account with them. There is a way of opening this account for free, and in that way, you can fill out a form if you haven't done it already. This was also in the athlete information that we sent. You can be part of the course program, which is a confidential program where you can put in any medical information that is of importance. For example, any asthma, any allergies to drugs or anything else, so that in case of an intervention by the medical team, we already have that information about you. But the only people who have access to that information are medical teams, doctors. So the information does remain confidential, but it does help things out in the unfortunate event where we may need to have that information and that you're not able to provide us with it at the time. So you can do this also during the pickup, the bib pickup time. And we also strongly encourage you to have an emergency number that you will write at the back of your bib so that we can easily have access to somebody should we need to. In the case of allergies as well, just so that you know, this is wasp season right now, so there are a lot of wasps on the course. Some people have been stung in the past. Of course, if you have no allergies, then that's not a problem, although it is annoying. If you do have allergies, though, we really strongly recommend that people who need it run with their EpiPen to make sure that there are no complications at all.
Carmen, the emergency number is a toll-free number, and on the back of the bib. And if they need to call us, the number is directly going to the medical team.
Great. So I'd forgotten about that point. And so for some of the race rules, so as you probably already know, because we sent this information already, we do not allow for the presence of pacers. We never have. Quite simply, there just logistically is no room for having that many runners. So this goes for all distances. And for the drop bags, so the drop bags are also color coded. For the 125K, it will be black. For the 65K, you will have a yellow bag, and for the 42K, a purple bag. So you can put there anything that you don't want to take with you during the course, any warmer clothes that you want to take with you to the start. And all of these bags will be brought to you, and you will be able to get them back at the arrival. For the case of the 125K, you will also have access to this bag at the Haute-Gorge aid station, which is 60K in. So if you want to have a different pair of shoes, or if you want to have some item of clothing that you wish to change into at about 60K, then you can also do that and make sure that you have everything that you need in that bag. And then from the Haute-Gorge, your bag will be taken to the arrivals section. Have I forgotten anything, Jean?
No, that's fine. That's perfect.
All right. For the support crews, so we have more detailed information on the website, along with maps and everything else. And you have the link here, and you also have it in the information that we sent you. But just to go over it quickly, the only people who have the right to have a support crew with them is the 125K runners. And just so you know as well, we expect support crews to be fully independent and autonomous. This means that we expect that you will not need to get anything from our own aid station. So we expect you to bring your own food, drinks, and everything else. And also, some of the places are easier access, some of them are not. In the case of the Marmotte, which is the second aid station, it's a really narrow, bumpy road. So it is accessible by car. It's not that you absolutely need a big 4x4 to go there. However, as Marlene was saying earlier on to the other group, if you have a really brand new car or one that's really, really low, close to the ground, it might not be the best idea. You might not like the state that it will be in at the end. So, and also we really encourage people to to use a little bit of carpooling in order to be able to reduce traffic. For the case of the Haute-Gorge, it's a paved road. It's really easy to be able to have access to that. It's completely paved. In the case of the split aid station, the access is by foot only. There are no vehicles allowed except for emergency vehicles, medical vehicles, crew vehicles. So any participant vehicle is not allowed. And you really should plan out how long it takes to get there, because it's 4 or 5 kilometers. It's easily 1 and 15 minutes or so, it'll take you about an hour and 15 minutes, perhaps an hour and a half to be able to get there on foot, especially if you're carrying a lot of gear with you. So please do keep that in mind. Yes, Jean.
I just opened my camera. But I don't need to say anything.
All right. So do plan out the time that you will need to be able to get there. And also the rules for the support crews is that you will get a sticker when you go and pick up your bib. So it's one sticker per runner. We do once again encourage people to carpool when at all possible. And you don't have access to the aid station yourself. So please be autonomous, bring your own chairs, food, anything else that you feel that you may need. And you have more detailed information in the website that you can see here. For the case of the 42K race, we have decided to allow children to participate, but they are actually teenagers. So anybody 14 and under is not allowed to participate in this race. However, anybody from 15 to 17 years of age is allowed to participate, but they must have parental authorization in order to be able to do so, and they must be accompanied by an adult. This adult does not need to be one of their parents, but it does need to be an adult, and it does need to be somebody who will remain within 10 meters of the person throughout the entire race. Otherwise, there's a risk that that the athlete will be disqualified. So please make sure that you have somebody who can accompany you if you decide to participate in this event. As far as the equipment is concerned, so you got a list already, but we're going to go through it quickly again. Anything with an exclamation mark is mandatory. Anything with a thumbs up is something that we encourage. And there are some things that are forbidden as well. That's on the second page. So in the case of water, we expect everybody from all three races, the 42, the 65, and the 125, to have an at least 1 liter capacity of water carrying. So of course that means that if somebody from the medical team stops you along the race to check if you have drunk part of your 1 liter, that's fine, of course, but we want to make sure that you can carry 1 liter of water with you. So for example, if all you can pull out is a bottle with like a capacity of 250 milliliters, that is not allowed and can carry a penalty of disqualification. We also expect you to have some food supply, a whistle, a waterproof coat with a hood. And a lot of people ask whether the hood is mandatory, whether the waterproof is mandatory. Yes, on both counts. The weather is really difficult to plan at this time of the year. There's been years where we've had like really, really hot, muggy weather, and there's been years when it's been freezing, literally like 0 degrees. So it's really important to be able to plan out. And sometimes, you know, the difference in temperature between the day and the night can be really huge. Same thing with the survival blanket. Please do not do what some people have done in the past, where they've taken a survival blanket and cut it in half in order to be able to save on weight. This is not going to really make you win the race, and also it's a danger, it's a risk. So please do have a full-size survival blanket. This is why we've mentioned the size of it. Gloves are very useful. You need to have them as well as a hat or a toque, and either a baseball cap, a bandana, or a buff. And this is probably going to get asked as a question, whether a buff can replace a toque. The answer is no. You need to have both of them. So one from either a hat or a toque, and one of either a baseball cap, bandana, or buff. Do not underestimate how cold it can be and how quickly you can get cold, especially during the evening hours or the very early morning. And also, as you are probably already aware, we do not provide any more glasses for environmental reasons along the course. So you need to bring your own reusable cup or container for any food or liquid that you will be choosing to have at the aid station. So we do sell these, so you can buy one before the race and you can provide your own. So the ones that we sell are very light and they can be squished so they don't take any room. But we are a green event, so this is one of the things that we do in order to be able to respect this. You also need a working headlamp. For the 125, it is mandatory. For the 65 or the 42K, it's not mandatory. We do encourage you to take one with you if you think that you may need more time in order to be able to finish your race. And it's mandatory also for the 125K to bring an extra set of batteries in case the first set does not work. Going on with the equipment. So a course map is always a good idea, but it is not mandatory. Also, a bear bell is a good idea, but once again, it is not mandatory. If you want, you can just spend your time singing if you prefer. For the case of the cell phones, So as you know, the UTHC is in a very isolated environment. There is not good cell reception along the course. If you send a text message, there are places where it will go. So sometimes, writing one and then pressing send, it won't go right away, but it will eventually get to where you wanted it. So you do need them to have a cell phone with you. And also we have a couple of apps that will allow anybody who is tracking you to be able to follow you. So these are apps that work through a GPS system. They do not actually need cell reception to be able to work, but this is more for people following you. And the EpiPen I already talked about. For anybody who has allergies, it is mandatory for you to have this with you. For trekking poles, they are allowed. They're not mandatory. This is a very personal question. It depends on what you're used to and what you prefer. Earphones, they're allowed as well, but we do encourage you to keep them on lower volume in order to be able to be aware of your surroundings, and animals are not allowed. Penalty, I'll just go over these very quickly. So in certain situations, you may have immediate disqualification. So if you miss a control point along the course, so it's mandatory for you to be able to be seen at every control point. What this means as well is that the bib does need to be visible. So we know that sometimes for reasons of comfort or whatever, some people decide to wear their bib in the back. But when you come to an aid station, we do require that you put it in the front so that it is visible, because volunteers have a lot of work to do to be able to take down the bib numbers of everybody who's gone through. This is a security reason, for safety measures. We really do need to know exactly who has gone through where so that we don't lose anybody. So that your bib is visible, that it is in the front. You can put it on your leg as well if you prefer, as long as it's in the front. And if you, for some, please don't put it on your bag that you're carrying with you. You can also be disqualified if you don't complete the entire marked course, if you go off course, if you voluntarily cause some accident or prevent another athlete from passing, if you drop any garbage along the course as well, if you change or remove course markers. I mean, all of this is, very common sense stuff. Not helping a person in need, this is a really important thing. This has to do with, trail running and basic trail running mentality. So if somebody looks like they're in trouble, we expect you to stop and try to help them out. If they look like they're in a lot of trouble, then we really do ask you to stay with that person until help comes. And we do know that this puts a lot of pressure on your own race. And but this is part of what trail racing is about. We help one another out, and it's really important that people respect this. And of course, you can't insult or threaten anybody else. Jean, did you want to add anything on that point?
No.
Okay. Continuing with penalties, then, it is, of course, you can't use any means of transportation, although I don't know which kind of transportation you could use unless you decide to ride on the back of the bear. And also, you cannot refuse a request from the medical team for a checkup on the course. So if somebody from the medical team comes up to you, there's a reason why. Maybe they think that you don't look lucid, so they might just stop you to ask you a couple of questions to make sure that you are fit to be able to go on. They might stop you and ask to see some mandatory piece of equipment, so you do have to play along with that. It's part of the rules, and we ask you to do that. And then, of course, receiving a positive drug test, or refusing to take a drug test, or using another person's bib, or providing false ID. This is really important because we have to know who has left. So it does happen sometimes that people, sign up for a race, and then closer to race day, they decide not to participate for whatever reason. But we really need to know who's on course. So it is forbidden to, give your bib to a friend just because you couldn't participate and somebody else wanted to. So you really do need to go through the organization in order to be able to do this. So in some cases, penalties or disqualification. In other cases, it's simply a time penalty. So that means that, you'll be stopped and forced to wait out a 30 or 45-minute period. So in the 30-minute range is no visible bib, or receiving assistance outside the designated areas. We talked about the support crews. So the support crews can do help to the 125K participants and only at the aid stations themselves. 45-minute penalties are for starting the race without all the mandatory equipment, and this can be checked, during the course, as is said here. And refusing to allow mandatory equipment or missing any of the following mandatory equipment is a disqualification. So the survival blanket, extra water, the whistle, and a warm hat. We really consider these to be absolutely necessary. So if you are missing any of these, you will be disqualified. And then the activities. So, after having talked about the more serious aspect of the race, we're going to go on to the more fun stuff. Marlene, did you want to jump into this, or do you want me to go on? Okay.
I can, I can do a little bit of it, so that you can have a pause, So we have some activities offered during the weekend for you or for your crews, and for the people who want to participate as volunteers, for example. So on Friday, as Carmen said, there's an athletes discussion panel. You are invited to participate to this. This will be presented too on Facebook. So if you can't be there physically, you can watch it online on Facebook Live on our Facebook page too, and on the Facebook page of Distance Plus. On Saturday, there are many activities for the people waiting on site. There will be activities led by Jim Ling and some percussionists, so to entertain you and your crew. There will be also shows at 6:30 and during the night too. So we want to have people on site to wait for the runners as late as possible. There will be runners who will arrive during the night until 3 a.m. In the morning. So we want them to arrive and that there are some people waiting for them. So to encourage people to stay, we offer some musical shows. There will be also things to eat with some of our partners. So please tell to your crew that it will be very fun with us on Saturday on the Mont Grand Fort site. And then for those who are concerned, there will be podium ceremonies on Saturday for the 42 and 65 kilometers at 3:30. And the podium ceremony for the 125K will be at 6 p.m. for the men, and later at night at 8:30 for the women. So we separated the two podium ceremonies for the 125Ks because the estimated time of arrivals of the men and the women can be very different. However, we ask all the winners to come back on Sunday for the closing ceremony. So during the closing ceremony on Sunday, all the podium ceremonies will be done again. So this is an official ceremony that will be shared on our Facebook page and the Ultra Trail World Tour Facebook page too. So we ask all winners to be there at the closing ceremony on Sunday. And there will be activities too on Sunday, for example, another musical shows, and all the shorter distances will be offered on Sunday. You may wonder what kind of gifts and services you will receive during your weekend. So every runner will receive a participation medal. However, for the first year, we are trying to measure how much people want to have a medal or participation medals. So if you don't want a participation medal, you will have the possibility to exchange it for a useful and durable souvenir if you want. So there will be water bottles, as you can see on the pictures, or you can also exchange it for $5 to exchange at the boutique if you want to have something that you may find more useful than a medal. So this is something that we try to offer this year to give you some extras. And then every runner will receive too a reusable beer eco cup. So this is the cup in which you will receive your beer or the non-alcoholic beverage that you want at the end of the race. So you will have also this souvenir to bring home at the end of the race. There will be a newsletter that will be sent the week before the event with special promotions offered to the UTSC athletes. So have a look at your newsletters. Please, if you haven't received any newsletter from us by now, it's not normal. Please write us if you didn't receive it. There may be a problem with your email because we have sent some newsletters in the past months and weeks. So there will be some others that are coming, and that will be very important for you to read them. You will receive also a warm meal at the end of the race at the Mont Grand Fond with a beer or a pure kombucha, as I said, so this is non-alcoholic. There will be massage therapy services for which you will have to pay if you need them, but there will be physiotherapy services for free if you need some physiotherapy services at the Expo Village. There will be also on-site food vendors with coffee, with pizza, with sausages and different kind of things. So this is for you, but also for people who accompany you. So the people who accompany you cannot have the warm meal that are offered to athletes, but they can have the food from our partners. So that's it. Also, we will offer a knife, an Opinel knife, to all the 125 kilometer finishers. They will be at the arrival line. So when you arrive, the volunteer there will offer you your Opinel or just ask for it. We are very happy to offer you this special gift to cheer you up after your beautiful race. Also, there will also be for first of each age category. For example, the first women and men age 20 to 29 years old, 30 to 39 years old. So the first of each age category will receive these pair of socks that are made by our partner Lorpen. To get them, you will see on the sports stats your time, and you will see how you if you are first of your category. If so, you just have to go to the information kiosk inside the Mont Grand Fond. The volunteers there will have the information and will give you your pair of socks. So this is a gift for you. Also, there will be showers on site. Also, at the Centre Sportif La Malbaie, this is a sports center in La Malbaie, if you need during the weekend to have a shower there. There are lockers in the basement of the Mont Grand Fond if you need to leave some stuff there. You have to bring your own locks if you want to use the lockers. There are a lot of them, so but it will be first arrived, first served. There will be a Compressport recovery zone where you will receive some, where you can just relax after your race. So this is offered by our partner Compressport. There's also a bazaar, Aricana. So this is a place where you can leave used stuff, some clothing or shoes that you may not want anymore, but that you would like to give to another runner for any reason. So you can leave it in the Bazaar Arcana that will be inside the Mont Grand Fond. And if you just want to have a look at what is given there, please don't hesitate. This is, we want to encourage people to share their equipment that they don't use anymore. And also there's a childcare service if you need them, if you need that service, sorry. So the information is on our website. There will be also a shuttle bus service during the whole weekend. This bus will go around the Mont Grand Fond, the Camping Chute-Fraser, and the city center of La Malbaie. So all the weekend there will be this shuttle bus if you need it. For example, if you arrive late at night on a Saturday, and there's nobody there to welcome you for any reason, don't be worried. There's this shuttle bus that can bring you back to your hotel or cottage or whatever. So there are other services that are offered. If you want any detail, you can go on our website to have a look at it. As Carmen said it earlier, we have 2 applications that you can download on your phone. There's the new Sports Stats Tracker application that's new for this year. So this is very useful for your crew or people who accompany you. This will help them to follow the race, so they will be able to follow you during the race to see where you are, and what is the expected time also of arrival at the different aid stations. They will be able to follow you or other runners, or they will be able with that application to follow the elite athletes. There's also the other application that is very, very useful, that is On the Go. We strongly suggest you to download it with the maps of the race. You have to download it before the race, and then it will be it can be used without internet connection. So during the race, if you think you are lost, or if you need to confirm that you are on the right track, On the Go will be very useful. Also for the crews, it's useful to know how to get to the aid station. Last thing, you may know probably that the Ultra Trail Arikana is partnered with the Multiple Sclerosis Society of Canada. So the event has been founded 8 years ago to collect funds for this cause. This is very important for us. This year we already have 91 participants of the fundraising. If you want to participate, you can still support a fundraising participant on our website. We have an objective, a goal of $65,000 to achieve. We reach 55%, 57% already. So you are welcome to support the fundraising. The other way to support the fundraising is to have a tattoo at the Mont Grand Fond during the weekend. You can get a tattoo and then and in exchange support the cause. And finally, the Lorpen socks that I showed you earlier, they will be also available at the boutique. And for each pair of socks that will be sold, there will be a $5 that will be given to the cause. So we strongly encourage you to get back home with a Lorpen socks. So I hope I was clear with my beautiful English. Maybe Jean and Carmen can also start their camera, and we will begin to answer the questions that you have for us. So as I said, and Carmen said, there's a Q&A section in your screen. You can find it there and you can write a question. We will see your questions and we will be able to answer them. Don't hesitate.
There's Q&A. Oh, there's one.
So Jamie asks us, will support crews have access to washrooms at the Haute Gorge? This is a good question. Yes, there is a, how do we say it, a chalet, huh? Carmen?
A cottage.
A kind of cottage, yeah. The principal site of the CEPAC has washrooms, so you can use them. This is the public access. Do we have other questions for us? Don't hesitate. There are no stupid questions. And
how beautiful your English is. There are no questions.
So I guess this is, if you don't have questions, I guess this is because it was clear, isn't it? But we're going to wait a little bit to be sure that if some people are just shy, that they can not be shy anymore. Or Jean and Carmen, maybe you have some questions.
I'm fine right now.
For example, what kind of questions did we have for the French webinar? Maybe we can go over those questions that were very pertinent and that can be useful.
Oh, we got another one there.
Oh,
What
okay.
What is the expected lows VSI? Okay. Temperature, I said it very good. Carmen, you can answer it, I guess.
Okay, so the answer is the expected temperature range is huge. So unfortunately, it's really difficult to know at this time. We've had a pretty dry summer, so the course itself is pretty good. So unless there's like floods in the next few weeks, it's going to remain good. But you really have to expect anything. It can really freeze at night, so 0 degrees Celsius around 32 Fahrenheit is a strong possibility. And there was one year that it was really, really warm. It was like 25 degrees or something like that in the shade, which is 82 Fahrenheit. So, it can really vary quite a bit. And that's why you should follow the weather forecast also because, you go up and down so much and you're in the woods. So you're often in the shade. You sometimes are a little bit cooler. So there's not really any answer to that. You will encounter different kinds of temperature during the same day just because, the course takes place over such a long period of time and also because there will be, for the 125, at least part of it run at night.
Good. A person asked us, how often will shuttles run from finish line to La Malbaie? This will work like that. It will go continuously between the trees, the different spots. There will be a phone number where you can call, and this will function a little bit like a taxi. So you will be able to call the responsible of the shuttle bus to know when the next shuttle will arrive to your place. So this will be pretty useful, we think. So maybe about every 30 minutes maximum there will be a shuttle bus. Was it clear?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We also have a question from Johan. He asks us, we can see the Uthc event in upcoming events in Sports Stats Tracker. Is it normal? Yes, actually, the people can change their race until tomorrow night. So the final list of runners will be available at the end of the week. And then we are going to be able to give this information to the Sports Stats Tracker application, and the application will be available in the next week. So this is normal. This is not ready anymore. This is not ready. This will be ready in the next weeks. So just follow it there.
We have a question from Guy who's asking, how now are you regarding the cutoffs for really slow people? Well, we actually we're gonna applicate all the cutoff at the time that we said and on the timetable, and also if between some sections slow people are very, very slow and they are slowing or people in the back of the race, the people of their organization, we usually take them out. So because we need to have safety on the back of the race. So if you are really slow, we might take you out.
It also depends on the distance you're running.
Yeah.
What are you on the 125 or are you on the 42 or 65? Because I think Jean is nicer to people on the 42 and 65 as far as cutoff times are concerned.
Yes, absolutely. Marcel is asking if it's easy to get to the 65K finish line by, yes, it's very easy. From La Malbaie, you just go to, there's only one route to go there, and it's at the ski chalet at Mont-Grand-Fond.
But as we said, there will be a shuttle bus available that you can use for free. So you may want to use it, but it may be a little bit longer than a taxi, a real one. But that's a service that you can use for free too. We have a question from Riz. He asks, there are items such as a jacket and gloves listed as mandatory in the info pack. Is the mandatory list what is in the participation pack or what is in your presentation? I think I don't understand. Do you understand, Carmen?
Yeah, normally both lists are the same. The jacket and the gloves are mandatory. Maybe you were talking about the penalty because not all the mandatory equipment has the same penalty, but the jacket that has to be waterproof and has to have a hood is mandatory, as are the gloves. But the info pack is the same thing as the mandatory list.
Frédéric, Frédéric 80 is asking if we do need a toque and glove if it's 25 and if it's warm, actually. Do we need a waterproof jacket if it's forecast clearly shows no chance of rain? Yes, you do. There's, like Carmen said earlier, it can change very quickly. So yes, you do. You do have to have those items with you.
Yeah, it is mountain terrain, so mountain weather can change really quickly. This is true the world over. Although the mountains aren't huge, the weather can still be very unpredictable.
Josh asks, what is the parking situation at the finish line? Can I leave my vehicle there? Yes, absolutely. You can leave a vehicle at the Mont Grand Fond, especially if you take the shuttle from there. There's a big parking there, so there's no problem. You can leave your car, but you can also take the shuttle bus if you prefer. We also have a question from Nora. She asks about the mandatory equipment, if a water repellent windbreaker with cap is sufficient, or is a Gore-Tex type fully waterproof really required? Actually, it doesn't have to be really. It can. The important thing is to have the hood.
The hood, yeah.
Cap is not enough.
Water repellent is good, and yeah, it don't have to be fully waterproof.
No, but a cap is not enough. A cap is not enough. You really do need to have a hood on the jacket itself. So you can't just wear a baseball cap along with something that doesn't have a hood. Some of the running jackets, you know, there's ultralight running jackets are water repellent, and they do come with a hood, and they don't care, you know, they don't weigh anything. Those are good.
Yeah.
Marcel is asking if there's any chance to get close to any kind of animals during the race. Yeah, well, actually, there's you're not going to see most of the animals in the woods because they're pretty scary of the sounds we make, and so you're probably not going to see anything. If there's something, you're probably going to see a moose. Sometimes they go across roads and we see them, but they are often really far away from us. That's pretty much it.
Each year there are some runners who see some animals, and all the long distances will go through a place where some, how do we say that? Castor, Carmen?
Beaver.
A beaver, sorry, yes. Mm-hmm. So there's a beaver section, if we may say it like that. So there's a place where you will run in a little bit of water because of the beavers who have made their
dams.
Their dams, yes. So you may see a beaver, and we were in the woods in the last weeks for to prepare the trails, and we've seen many animals like porcupines, rabbits. So you may see some kind of animals like that, but you will be lucky if you see some.
Yeah, you'll be lucky. Bob is asking from the past race. My question is it the first 20K of the race mostly road or all trail? Well, actually, we changed the course last year, and we have a new section at the beginning of the race. And the first 4K are mainly fire roads, and then you go on a single track, and it's all the way down a single track to aid station 2, which is Marmot, and then there's some mix between fire roads and single tracks.
If I may add something, you will find on our website a description of the course that is very detailed. So you will find the description of the course on the 125K page have a look at that. You will find very interesting information to be well prepared to your race.
Yeah. And I presume from the way that the question was asked that you perhaps have participated in that race in the past. So yeah, as Jean mentioned, the course did change last year. So the first 20K is different from what you participated in if it was over 2 years ago. No problem, Laura.
We don't have new questions now.
No?
Do we have some time? We have a few minutes more. Don't hesitate if you have any other questions. If not, or if you have other questions that come up later in the following days, don't hesitate to write us at info commercial A aricana.info. We will answer your questions with great pleasure, no problem. So don't hesitate. We want you to be well prepared for the event. So as I said, you will find on our website the athlete's guide with many information. You will also find the course description. So each kilometer, what kind of trails you will find. So have a look at that. That's very interesting too. You will also find information there on the athlete's guide about what will be available at the aid station, what will be available to eat, for example. So that may be interesting for you too. So we have Johan that thanks us all. Thank you, Johan. I don't know if Jean or Carmen want to add something else before we end the webinar.
No, I just wish everybody a superb tapering period before the race, and I look forward to seeing you all there.
Yeah, for me too.
Same.
So thank you very much, and see you very soon at the Ultra Trail Aricana. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.